That's our cue.
12 o'clock.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent, and founder of the Notary Business Builder Advanced Notary Mastermind. And I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Laura Biewer. How's it going, Laura? You want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Turn that off so I can do that. Come on, phone, turn
Ringing
off.
and dinging.
I am. It's just been one of those days. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Biewer, and I'm founder of Coach Me, Laura, and the Notary Symposium. And I also am faculty on NBB, the Notary Business Builder. So you probably know me from one of those ways, as well as co-host on TNT. And welcome today. Good to see you all.
We've got a couple of announcements that I want to make before we kick off officially and start taking questions. The first, Laura, you want to tell them about New York?
Yes, I almost forgot. So Real World is coming to New York. I've had several requests. Why don't I come out there? So New York is now on the schedule. It is for April. Gosh, Bill, is that the 16th? That Saturday?
It's April 16th.
April 16th, I will be doing a Real World notary class for those people in New York. So if you are one of those notaries who want to be more competent and confident about your notary skill, sign up and you can go to coachmelora.com/NY. NY would be it.
And I put that link in the chat window for you as well if you want to check that out, guys. Remember, seats are extremely limited for those real world trainings. So if you're in New York and you want to participate, please register soon because we cap that off at 38 students. All right. And then the other cool thing I want to mention to you guys is this coming Thursday morning is the Notary Masters Toastmasters group. This is a Toastmasters meeting specifically for notaries by notaries. So we get to geek out together. Lots of notaries from around the country. It's all on Zoom, and you can use notarial language in your speech and not be thought weird. Super cool. And Toastmasters is extremely powerful in helping you build confidence in presentation of documents and presentations in networking and just one-on-one interactions. It's been really helpful in my own journey and so many others. So if you'd like to participate, guys, that is 100% free to participate in the program on Thursday mornings. It's the first and third Thursday of each month. The notarymasters.org is the domain, and I'll put that in the chat for you as well. If you would like to be a paid member, I highly recommend it. Right now they're doing their final push to become a charter group organization. So they are in need of people who want to participate actively and actually have a paid membership. If that's you, the link is going to be in the chat. You can check in with Daniel Brewer. He is the founder and organizer of that group, putting everything together for us. And I'll put their domain in there as well for you. Okay, Laura, I feel like there was one other thing that we needed to talk about, but it'll come to me later. Let's jump in and answer some questions here. All right, first thing I want to do is just bring up my screen share again. I had this up before we got started. This is from our good friend Renee Lamb, fellow mobile notary and loan signing agent with lots of whoops. Okay. All right, said, nope, not today. This is our framework for how to ask better questions in a group environment. This is you right now in so many different circumstances as well, whether you're asking questions on Facebook groups, asking questions in a classroom environment, or right here on TNT. This is a real efficient way to do that. First thing is, in just one sentence, give us a little bit of context about what you're talking about. As part two is jump in and ask the question. It's either going to be a specific question or a more general question. Either one is totally fine. Just get right to it. And then mute yourself and sit back and receive the answer. If Laura or I or any of our guests have additional information that we need, we'll ask some probing questions. Feel free to jump in and participate that way. All right, let's see. I've got some hands up super early, Laura. I think Gloria Holt is ready to go with us today. It's nice to see you on, Gloria.
Hi, how are you? I'm from California, Southern California, and I have a couple of quick questions. And one is having to do with a trust. I just recently had my own trust updated. And I obtained my own notary. And all of the documents had jurats, which both he and I were shocked because most of the time you see acknowledgements. So we went ahead with it, but what's your take on that? Do you have some kind of feedback of whether I should talk to that attorney or?
Yeah, I have never in California handled a trust, and I've done hundreds and hundreds of them, seen jurats, except for properties out of state. Sometimes I'll see that, or for the affidavit death of joint tenant or spouse, I see that. The rest have been acknowledgements. So if you used an attorney, I would check back in with the attorney to verify that he purposely used jurats for your documents.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay.
I think that's a good opportunity too, Gloria, before you move on to your next question, is just to remember that the people who create these documents sometimes are not familiar with that there's even a difference between an acknowledgement and a jurat. So we can't, so I love that this stood out for you, but especially when you see lending documents and things like that, they might just be copying and pasting from templates that the person who held that position 30 years ago started using. So that really highlights the importance of us understanding the role that we play and what we can do and can't do.
Okay. Okay, thank you. The second question has to do with signing companies. Do you recommend signing up with the individual companies if they're on like SnapDoc or some of these platforms, or do they exclusively go through those platforms?
I think that's going to be a one-on-one case-by-case basis. Sometimes companies will tell you, don't bother, we're on SnapDocs, just get approved on SnapDocs. Those are not usually the types of companies I want to build a relationship with. I want to work with the companies that are interested in a deeper relationship. So a lot of them will allow you can check in with them. You can call the schedulers directly. You can call the owner directly sometimes and just check in and continue to build that relationship. And sometimes you can be preferred on SnapDocs or whatever platform it is. And sometimes you get phone calls outside of what they'll send in a blast text. Laura, what's your experience been on that?
Well, I'd start the same place you did, which is if they only use SnapDocs and nothing else, that means it's cattle calls and there's no relationship building opportunity. The second thing is I have worked with signing services when they work directly with me. So that means I get a phone call or I get a personalized email. I'm not one of 100 that received that call or that email, because there is the opportunity to work with somebody and to grow with them. So yeah, I would look for those that allow you to directly work with the signing services if you're going to use signing services along with direct work.
All right, Gloria, was that all of your questions?
That is it. Thank you so very much. You're great.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. Yolanda, thanks for your patience too. I saw your hand up nice and early. How can we help? Or what state are you in and how can we help?
I am in California and I'm a new notary. I haven't done any signings yet, but I did get a notification for an I-9 verification. And I just want to know, does a California notary have to be an immigration consultant to do an I-9?
Great.
You have to be an immigration consultant to handle I-9 forms. If you're not, don't do them.
Okay, and how do you become an immigration consultant?
There's training out there. NNA is one of several companies that provides immigration form specialist training. You have to register with the Secretary of State. You have to have a different background screening, and you need to have a $100,000 bond, which runs close to $2,000 for 2 years.
Wow.
That's why I'm not one.
Thank you.
And once you become one, you can no longer advertise that you're a notary. Sounding better all the time, huh? So I have one on my phone and I just send them to that person.
That's a great
And
way
that's
of
what I'd
handling that.
recommend is find, network with others who are bonded immigration consultants. They may or may not, actually, they're probably not a notary. And you can send work their way. And if they need something notarized, they might be able to use your service as well.
Thank you so much.
Yolanda, I just got to say, congratulations for even questioning that when you're brand new. I think that speaks a lot to the learning that you've obviously taken on. So well done on that. Because in almost all the other states, Laura, we can do it, right? Is there
Yeah.
one other state? I think it's all
There
other
is
states.
another state where there's an issue, but most of the states, it's not an issue at all.
Yeah, and we're acting outside the capacity of a notary public, so because
That's
it's
right.
not, it's a non-notarized document. So
That's correct.
but there is one question I saw pop into the chat. Guys, if you're messaging me too in the chat, I apologize. I can't multitask, so I don't pay attention to that. You'll have to raise your hand in order for me to see you. But I did see one question from Ev. She said, what if I'm in California and I did a I-9 without knowing I couldn't do it? Do you recommend there's any follow-up or anything that you would do with that, Laura?
Let it go. Move on. There's nothing you can do about it now.
Perfect.
It's not likely Secretary of State is, monitoring every single one. So the likelihood that something's going to come up is not likely.
All right. California is really representing this morning or this afternoon. Jennifer Cooper, also in California. How's it going today?
Going really well. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, I'm in California and I have a question, and Laura's probably gonna need to help me with this. It's regarding parent consent for passports for minors. I've had 2 in the last week. And my question to you, and I've already called the Secretary of State, but I haven't been able to get an answer. Their notarization at the bottom of that form has nothing to do with California compliance whatsoever. It's a weird little box, but it's from the State Department. But I've been attaching acknowledgements, and I'm not sure if that's the right or wrong thing to do.
So a couple things. One is, if you're talking about the old version, which is no longer valid to use, it had an oath at the bottom for the notary, and there's a yellow stripe on it. That's not valid. We can't use it anymore. And that one, when it was valid, was not an acknowledgement. It was a jurat, is what we were attaching.
Right.
Second of all, they've replaced that form. And in the replacement, the notary language is above in section 6 before you fill out all the stuff instead of at the bottom. And that is an acknowledgement. So that is now what it is. And California could use it by fixing the location. So you have, instead of city, state, you have city, county, state, so that you get the venue included. And because this is a federal document, not meant to stay for the state of California, we all 50 states are stuck with it. I do not have to stay with the California format or the California elements.
Okay.
You could fill out all the information, your stamp. If you don't have a mini stamp, it's going to be hard. You can do it vertically or horizontally, above or to the side of notary seal. Fill it all out, sign it, add the county so you have a complete venue. You're good to go. You don't need to attach.
Well, I did too, and did send both with, because there was no language. So are they going to get kicked back?
Well, there is language, Jen. It's in that top section. The word acknowledge is in there.
If they were old forms, I don't know why they would have had
them. If they were old
I
forms, then it's what I described before, which is it was at the bottom. There's a place for us to sign, and right above our signature said the word oath. And it was all about the notary, and it was not valid at all. And that's why we had to work around it.
Okay.
And if you get an old one, don't accept it. It's not valid anymore. Use the new one. It is an acknowledgement. Again, you know what? The worst that's going to happen is they're going to get it back. Right. Ask you to redo it, but now you know what to do.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
That's a hard form. And it just goes to show you, you cannot trust the government, not the state, not the feds, to give you the right language, to know what your requirements are.
And on top
you can only
of that,
trust yourself.
On top of that, when somebody Googles, depending on how they've Googled that form that they're looking for, they could end up on some random site, some historic site that shows forms that are even older than what Laura even
Oh,
talks
yeah.
about. So they can find all kinds of weird stuff out there.
There's an expiration date in tiny print up in the top right corner of the form. So you always want to use the form, accept a form that is current.
Incidentally, this is a form that Laura teaches on in the real world training. She'll go through this step by step. So if you happen to be in one of those states that Laura's visiting with Real World, you'll get a chance to see this. And if you're part of Notary Business Builder, the replay is available for you too in the replay archive. Well, actually, you have your own library version of that too with all those replays. All right, Bridget's iPhone is here. How's it going, Bridget? What state are you in and how can we help? Bridget is probably looking for her unmute button right now on her phone.
There we go. I found it. You're correct. I'm doing good, Bill. I am in Texas, and I have two hopefully quick questions. And one thing, if you and Laura don't mind, the lady that was asking about SnapDocs, just in my experience, my big signing companies and title companies like First American Direct, they came through SnapDocs. And once people start saying how good of a job I was doing, they wanted me direct and made me preferred to where I get stuff from First American, from other states here and everywhere. So you just may not want to sleep on SnapDocs because there are companies in there that are big that will take you direct. I have another one that only puts me in SnapDocs, but they text or call me first. So just a heads up, you may not want to sleep on that. So
I love it, Bridget. Thank you for that.
But one question, and Laura may be able to answer this. I know she does the HOA elections, the election verification, and I'm in Texas. Where would I look to find out if that is something that is needed or required in Texas? And you may or may not know the answer or just may know where to direct me. So that's my first question.
I'm going to direct you to do some research. For some states like Arizona, it's Department of Real Estate. So you want to Google governing body for homeowners associations or statutes for homeowners associations to find out what's the governing document or statute or body that regulates HOAs. Every state has somebody who's in charge. And then it's there that you would find out what their protocol is for elections, let's say.
Okay.
And then and then they may or may not, give you, they may give you a list that says a third party, and you're a third party, whether it says notary or not. Then you'd know, okay, I could approach HOAs.
Okay. Thank you for that, because where I'm at in Texas, they're building communities left and right. And I'm pretty positive they're not going to be able to handle all of those communities for that kind of stuff. So just with how I'm seeing their building. My second question is in regard, and probably Bill, you or Laura could answer this, in regard to working with attorneys to do estate planning and trust and stuff like that. So I come from a legal background. That's what my graduate degree is in. And I know attorneys that do this. Would you guys suggest my reconnecting with them in regard to that to see if I would be able to assist them with that?
Well, I would absolutely recommend. I'm a strong believer that you probably already know everybody you need to make your business everything you want it to be. So if you have that kind of network, I would absolutely do that. And their pain points already. There's time constraints. There's budget constraints. All of those pain points if you've worked in that industry before, and you can address those pretty directly. And then I also think that there's probably a real methodical way to do this, like to softly get back in touch, get back in their orbit, get back on their radar, and then start reaching out to gradually start saying, hey, just checking in. I'm back in the industry. You want to grab a coffee? You want to grab a drink? You want to grab lunch? You want to jump on Zoom? Those types of conversations. And then always approach it from, how can I support you in your business? what do you got going on? I know you've killed it. I've always respected you in this business. I know you've specialized in divorce. I know you specialize in accident law, whatever it is. And just kind of speak that language and see if there's anything they can do this, you can do to support them, and then realize your true value in this industry. And you can literally, when it comes to attorneys, you could help triple their business because you're an addition. That's the time that you could take signing their customers, saving them time from travel, saving them time from sitting and going through signatures. They can be out cultivating relationships and getting more business. Laura, what do you have to say on this? This is right up your alley too.
Ditto.
Ditto.
Really, no need for me to repeat all of that. Same thing.
Okay, thank you guys so much. I appreciate the help and information.
You bet. And I think, Bridget, too, this is real good demonstration of bringing all of your past experience into this business. And when it comes to your Google business profile listing, when it comes to your website, social media, the whole deal, tie in the language that of your ideal customer, of your attorney, build that in to the content that you're creating in your digital presence. So when they are searching for you, or their peers are searching for your services like yours, it's going to bring up your information. All right. Darius, glad you're here. You want to unmute, let everybody know what state you're in and how we can help.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Darius from Southern California, Los Angeles area. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Tuesday today. Bill, and I got a quick question for you. This is kind of a weird one, but I was just wondering if this would be a best practice. Recently, I was on 2 different signings. I got the same person from 2 different signing companies a few weeks apart. First signing was a refinance, and then the second finance with the same guy was a debt resolution. And then while during the signing, we began talking, the rapport is there. The seller brings up the fact that he really wants to sell, and he really wants to, quick sell his current property and just, get out of it. And I was thinking because I'm friends with some people in real estate, this could be definitely a wholesaling opportunity, because he brought it up in conversation. Would it be a best practice, or I should kind of stay away from that if that kind of opportunity presents itself during a signing?
What a great question, Darius. I love this. So, and I'll go first. I'm sure I'd love to hear Laura's perspective on this too. We don't get to talk about this very often.
Yeah.
But this is, I think this is one of the fringe perks of working in this business, is really being of service to your customers and finding other opportunities.
Yeah.
The first thing I'll say is I highly recommend you separate the transactions, first of all. So if you're at an appointment, whatever that appointment's for, whatever's being talked about, button up that appointment. Don't cross sell, no matter what it is. Don't get too sidetracked that you start talking about selling the house more than whatever you've been paid to do there. If it comes up, just say, hey, I think I might have a contact for you. I'll send that over to you after this appointment. Wrap up, button up that contact. And then we should all have a resource list. One of the hidden values that a notary signing agent can bring to the table is being a bird dog for investors, for wholesalers, for all various types of services and industries, because people need stuff and we hear about it very oftentimes right at the closing table. So if you have resources, you can follow up later, even if you are the wholesaler, or even if you're the investor that's in the back of your mind that wants to buy this house. Button up that transaction first and wait till I leave. And then I just let them know, set the expectation. I'm going to send you an email with that contact information after this appointment. I promise I'll get back to you. Give them a deadline. And then I can follow up with an email or a phone call. And I can just say, hey, I've got a couple of contacts for you, and I think I might be interested in this, or however it might go. But you just don't want too much
Perfect.
crossover and bleed over.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Laura, do you have any insight or opinion on that too?
I think my opinion, I don't really have any other insight, but my opinion is definitely be very careful about crossing the line when you're at the table doing something else. I agree with Bill. You can mention I may be able to be of help with that, but right now let's focus on getting this completed, done, and out of there. I have heard issues with cross-selling at the table from title companies. They don't want you to be talking to their clients about anything except what you're there to do. So
Okay.
really be careful about that is my caution.
But it would be okay to make a mental note of the buyer, the property, and then maybe reach back out later at a later time, a week or two down the road.
Well, I don't even know if it needs to be a week or two, Darius, but I think it's
Okay.
almost it's a disservice if you have resources that person needs. I think it's a disservice not to follow up. It's absolutely okay to say, you know what, I'm going to follow up, and then set the expectations. Yeah,
Okay.
this used to happen with me in Legal Shield all the time, right? So people need attorneys, they need the legal service, but I'm not going to sit at this closing table and sell my Legal Shield services. I've got a contact that might be able to help you out with that. I'll put you in touch with them after that, and then connect it with it was my upline at the time that would just have a conversation with them. You can do that with a real estate agent too, or an attorney. If somebody says, do you have a good attorney? Yeah, I've got a couple of great attorneys. I'll be happy to connect you with those after this appointment.
Okay, perfect. Just make sure that line's not getting blurred. Handle the transaction first, whatever we're there, whether it's debt resolution, refi, whatever that is, get that out the way, and then, continue on with the other.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, you have
Perfect.
two main responsibilities, Darius. Number one is to expertly perform the duties you've been hired to deliver at that appointment. And the second one is to lay the foundation for a relationship that can last beyond that one single transaction. And part of that is being a resource to your network, being likable. I mean, obviously there's a certain trust there if he's sharing this with you anyway. So part of integrity is to keep your word. If you tell him you're going to follow up and you're going to connect him with somebody, to actually do that. So it all kind of flows if you do it right. But I will tell you guys, what Darius is asking about and what we're describing here is an art form. You have to practice this because it can go south in a hurry because we get so excited. We got Legal Shield in our back pocket. We got fingerprinting in our back pocket. We got all this stuff in our back pockets. And then somebody opens the door for us and it just all comes flowing out. And if that gets misinterpreted up the chain, then we lose clients that way. And we don't want to do that. If you handle this tactfully, gracefully, and with a little bit of strategy, it can be a game changer for you. Every little service line that you have in your business can be fed by your notary business if you do it correctly. Great question, Darius.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Bill and Laura.
Thanks for bringing that up. Melissa Garner, thank you for being here. Would you like to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help?
Hey, so I'm in the state capital city of Florida, so Tallahassee. And I'm not a new notary, but I've been building a business as a loan signing agent, remote online notary, and so forth. And in that process, with having a LinkedIn page and website and so forth, this is more like a best practices question, similar to Darius, in that when I have signings and so forth, and I have one company that likes to take pictures of their seller buyer at the end of the closing, and I've asked if it's okay, if they mind if I post a picture, if they'll share it with me. So is it prudent, is it professional, to post hey, had a great signing with, so-and-so and such and such a company, because obviously I want to work with, multiple, title companies or realtors or escrow companies, we don't want to like flaunt just one, but so just kind of a general best practices question as far as like advertising, do you say that, hey, I had a great closing with XYZ, or just say, oh, it was a great closing with this couple today, and make it generic?
What a great question. Again, man, Laura, we're getting some great questions. I like this, a little outside the normal lines. I have an opinion on this, but Laura, I went first last time. Why don't you go and tell me what you think on this?
So I'd be really careful with this. People may, I guess what I would do is if you want to do that, I would definitely let them know what it is you want to do, whether or not how they would be identified. They may or may not want to be identified on social media. They may not want people knowing they're refinancing or that they're selling or that they're buying. So I would just be careful. Certainly if they're all happy about doing it, then I don't see there's an issue. And certainly when you post pictures, grab more attention than just words. So I know it's more effective, but be careful about doing that for sure, that's okay for them.
Yep, good feedback. And I think Laura's absolutely right. And it sounds like you're getting that permission. So when you do get that permission, what I have learned from a couple different perspectives is I keep it generic. What I learned is when I post the company I am closing for, it triggers other signing agents to go to that client and think, oh, I can just get right in here. That actually happened a few times. And there would be this little uptick in people knocking on their doors. And my clients, we have a great relationship. So it wasn't too big of a deal, but still I was like, oh, okay, so maybe we shouldn't do this. The other one is some of these corporations don't appreciate it. They have strict branding guidelines and we're outside of their corporate umbrella, like our HR policies, but we're still part of it. So sometimes they get kind of weird about it. So I just said, forget it. I don't need the name of the company. I can just talk about the signer. Sometimes I'll just get their hands with a pen in it or a bottle of water or the congratulations sign or something like that. And I get really creative with it. But here's the thing. It's very effective, Melissa. So it does work. It is powerful when you just dial it in to what you, your clients, and your signers can work with.
Yeah, I've always asked for permission first, and of course I don't, list anything particular, like like you're saying. I had the wonderful refi today with Mr. and Mrs. Jones, and I try to leave names out of it and so forth. But if it's just great closing today with the realty team, and and that sort of thing. So
yeah.
just wondered about opinions on best practices and how to be able to incorporate that for marketing purposes.
Yeah, I think you got some good feedback today. And here's where you cannot go wrong is pets. People, if you're at a signing and somebody's got a pet, take a picture of the pet or their
I got 3. Can I bring mine?
No rules against that. People love pets and they love to show off their pets too. And that's kind of a safe bridge too.
Gotcha.
So,
well, thank you so
great
much.
Question.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing the passionate journey on social media. It can be really effective when done correctly. Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks.
Yolanda Anderson, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute and let everybody know what state you're in and how we can help?
Sure. Hi, Bill, Laura. Can you all hear me okay?
Sure can.
Yes.
Okay. I'm here in Maryland and I just have a couple of questions. First one, I'm just wanting to make sure that I'm doing this correctly in terms of filling out my journal. So I've run across, and I'm just going to use one document in particular, but there are several with the same wording at the bottom, the disclosure statement regarding notary services. So let's see here. At the bottom, it says, duly sworn, acknowledged the foregoing to be his or her free act and in my presence. So whenever you see duly sworn and acknowledged, what I've been doing is when I'm recording it in the journal, I'm listing it as a jurat. Is that correct? Or should I be doing a jurat as well as an acknowledgement? Because I'm noticing a lot that says sworn, took oath, and acknowledgement. How do you, differentiate that? I've been doing jurat. Whenever I see the duly sworn, I just put jurat, but should I be putting both?
Jurat is what I would be putting down. Because the acknowledgement gets covered by the fact that you're watching them sign.
Okay, and that's what I thought. So just from here on out, though, if you ever see, like if I ever see duly sworn and acknowledged together, just go with the jurat.
Yes, if you call NNA, they're going to the hotline, they're going to direct you to use the jurat
Mm-hmm.
because it will cover both.
Okay,
Mhm.
and would it still be the same when you see the ones that have oath, sworn and acknowledged? Because I'm assuming the sworn and the oath is one and the same. I wish I had a document that I've seen that on. I don't have
Yeah,
it pulled
I
up.
I don't recall seeing oath and sworn because it's the same thing. It's describing
Right.
the same thing. If it just says sworn, um, to me, that's the oath part.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
and actually, unless it says that it was signed or subscribed, uh, that's the signature part for a jurat. Otherwise,
Mhm.
you just have an oath, but because they put an acknowledgement with it, which means now they're talking about the signature,
Mhm.
a jurat is going to cover it.
Okay, yeah, that'll work. That's what I thought, but I wanted to just be clear on that. And then I had a second question. It's in regards, maybe you and Bill both can give me some suggestions. I'm trying to set up my RON platforms, and I've been doing a lot of research, but I'm having, some difficulty deciding on which might be best. I'm looking for a platform that would provide signing offers to me, the notary, but would also allow me to, service or notarize for my own clients. So both. Do you
Right,
have
that's a
any
hybrid.
suggestions?
So that's called a hybrid platform where it allows you to bring your own business
Right, and
besides
offer.
referral from the platform.
Mhm.
And Cyberize It does that. That's Amy Sites, and hers is a hybrid
Mhm.
platform where if they have work in your area, they could refer it to you, but you can bring
Okay,
your own clients to it. I can't speak to who else is a hybrid platform, although you might be able to Google that hybrid RON platform, and that might bring up
Mhm.
who else is doing it that way. Bill, do you know who else is a hybrid?
Not off the top of my head that's been effective that way. I've heard a few call them hybrids because they have a directory and they do some SEO, so it drives traffic and then they
Yeah,
kind of
not really
farm
the
it
same.
out. But I don't know. I think this would be a great place if there's anybody who's a remote online notary and you have a platform that you love working with. I think that would be a qualifier that is a hybrid where they do generate some leads for you, but you're free to bring your own customers. Will you post that into the chat for Yolanda? And then
yes.
another resource, if you haven't tried them already, check out ronuniversity.com with John Holder. He might have some resources. I don't know specifically if he does tell you which ones are hybrid and which ones aren't, but he's done interviews with all of those reps with the what's that word I'm looking for? The demos. So they to see how they operate and all that good stuff.
Okay, I'll check them out. You said it was ronuniversity.com.
You got it.
Okay, thanks, guys. And like I say, guys, if you have any ideas, please put it in the chat. Thank you.
No
Appreciate you
problem.
guys.
Yep, my pleasure. And I will just again second the Cyberize It, Yolanda, because Amy Sites is all over Clubhouse, brings tremendous value to the notary community, very helpful. Excellent
Absolutely.
support. And it's one of the most affordable platforms out there too, that really has the notary in mind when she built that platform.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll
because
check
she's
that
a
one out as
notary.
well, for sure.
She's a notary first, platform second.
Thanks, Laura.
All right. Thank you, Yolanda.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right. Mary, great to see you on. I feel like it's been a while since you've been on. Welcome.
It has. You've grown so much. Congratulations on your success. It's awesome to see. And I've been busy here too, so that's great. Appreciate your support. I'm doing a lot of general notary work and weddings and an occasional signing. I'm the preferred notary for our local hospital, and often I receive last minute calls. Grandma's in the hospital. She needs a POA. She needs her advance directives. How do I get them? So call an attorney. Well, that's not going to happen. It's going to take a week if you're lucky to get an attorney to call you back. I started researching a little bit more, and we have what's called the Florida Association of Legal Document Preparers. in the state of Florida, most of whom are notaries. It's a strictly clerical service that's billed out as such. And the Department of State has like templates for advanced directives, for POAs and such that are accessible online. And I understand that the key is to do a written intake form from the customer before we clerically basically take that template with our computer and our printer, fill it out, complete it, print it out, and take it to them for signing. Have you all heard of that? And just wanted to get your feedback.
Yeah, legal document preparers are similar to paralegals in terms of preparing documents. So I don't know what the requirement is to be a legal document preparer in your state. So you'd have to know that you have those requirements, but that is what they do, is they prepare documents for, you know, do it yourself. People that want, they don't want to hire an attorney, but they don't exactly know how to fill it out.
Right.
Then it's happening between that person and the client, and it gets created. The document is created based on their answers, and if the document has to be notarized, and they happen to be a notary as well, then they can notarize it, even though they prepared it.
Okay. And then I didn't know, I reached out to the Department of State to try to get something in writing from them because it's ambiguous. The statute says we're not allowed to touch a document, right? As a notary. We
Yeah, but you're not when you're doing that, you're not a notary. You're wearing a different hat.
Yeah.
Super. That's what I wanted to hear. Yay. Thank you both. Have a great spring.
Yeah,
All
great
right.
one, Mary. But also be sure that you're qualified as a legal document preparation.
Right.
So in Arizona, there's special certification we
You
have
have
to
to be
go
like a
through.
paralegal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not that strict in Florida. Hey, Florida doesn't even require a journal, for goodness sake.
Right.
But yeah,
Okay,
so yeah, I'm kind of just swimming in it, looking at it, see before I dip my toe. I don't know. So we'll see.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Mary. Great to see you on here. And I think that's another great opportunity for service. It's not for everybody, but if you love to geek out on documents and the document prep, you might look into paralegal or the legal document preparation in your state, because there's a lot of interesting tie-in too, even on the loan signing side. Some of these title companies, they won't do certain kinds of deed work like quit claim deeds or adding somebody to a deed and those types of things. So they're constantly looking for legal document preparers that can take care of that stuff. They're always asking, my clients are always asking me. So we have somebody we refer that out to. But if it's something that sounds interesting to you, you can tap into that as well.
Right.
Just note that there's probably going to be some rules to do so, unless you're in Florida, it sounds like, which is great. All right, Lori Johnson, thanks for being here. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help. Lori Johnson, there she is.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks for being here. How can we help? What state are you in?
Good. Thanks. I'm in Florida, and
right.
I literally just got my RON. I thought I would do that first and then go do the whole, but RON took forever, so I'm ready for everything basically. But I'm moving in 2 weeks, far away, a couple hours away, still in Florida, but just further away. And my question is, what can I do to hit the ground running when I get there? Because I don't know anybody. It's going to be new, but it's a more populated area that I'm in now, which I'm super excited about. So is there any recommendations?
Yeah, for sure. Well, sure. I mean, it's basically it's not really starting from scratch, but what do you want to focus on in your business? And I know that you said everything, but if you try to do everything, you'll probably end up doing nothing. So you want to choose. Are you looking at the mortgage industry with loan signings, specialty or general?
Well, my background is real estate, so I do have that as my background, but I'm okay with starting with general notary work as well, and then working myself up to the loan signing part of it, because I'm a real estate broker. So yeah, I'm familiar, but not quite, not quite comfortable to sit and talk to people about it yet.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have an address already in your new location?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Have you started your Google business profile and websites and begun the transition?
I
Did you, Lori?
have, I started the Google here where I'm at now, and they wouldn't authenticate it because like I said, I'm very rural area right now. So instead of going through all that, I decided to wait. It's only a couple of weeks and they have to verify it. And then I don't want them to have to go through it again when I get there. You know what I'm saying? So, because I'm not there to get the mail if they send something there to verify it.
Sure, sure. All right. Laura, what suggestions do you have?
Well, you know what, I was just caught up on your earlier comment about start with general and work your way up to loan signings, because I see it the opposite way.
Okay.
Loan signings, the work isn't as hard. It's all the pressure points are outside of the documents, whereas general work, you got to know so much more. So I started with loan signings and worked my way up to general work or special work. So, but that's not here nor there. It was just something my mind was like narrating that statement. But did you already set up contacts? I don't know if that's what Bill and you were discussing. Did you already set up
I had not, no, because I was expecting the Ron to be done way before now. And literally it was Friday that I got everything back.
Right, but the remote it doesn't matter because it's everywhere. It doesn't matter.
Sure, but that's what, that's what I was going to focus on until I got there and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So it was like, okay, my mind hadn't even gone to that next portion yet. And now I'm like, okay, well, I'm not waiting. So it will take me a while for that.
There's the basic things you start with, Lori, such as visibility. And I think that's what, Bill, that's what you were talking about, the different things she could do for visibility, right? And visibility is going to be digital and it's going to be in person. So, you know, join your local chamber, see if there's any special real estate, real estate group that meets, an association that meets in that town. Since it's a larger one, you might find one there. You want to get in front of people in person, and then you want to make sure they can find you if they're looking for you specifically for a notary service, and that whatever you have out there is effective. So an effective Google page, not just a Google page, an effective.
Right.
Also SEO optimized website, not just a website. So I know we tell you, oh yeah, get a website, go on Google, do this, do that, but there's details in each one of those steps. So for instance, I think the Google one is really helpful. It's really my BFF in my digital world. And there is a guy, we always know a guy, this guy is Jim Allen, and he teaches how to have an effective Google page. And I'm going to tell you, if that's done well, it's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So that's one suggestion, you know, that I have. And of course, look at potentially a directory, a yellow pages of notaries. That would be another, the NNA has one. If you're a member of the NNA, then there's no cost associated to having that. And there's other directories out there like Notary Rotary, where you pay a membership fee and then you're part of that database. And then they spend a lot of money, big money, on making sure their domain is highly visible so that if something comes up in your area, your name comes up as well. And then Lori, you're a brand new notary, correct, for Florida?
Correct, yes.
And make sure that you know what you're doing in terms of skill. So Florida does have, I believe, some mandated training for notaries. It's a 3-hour course.
Yeah, basic.
But it's basic. It's all theoretical. There isn't any like real documents going on in there, real scenarios going on in there. So you might want to consider expanding your expertise to be more confident and competent as a notary. So looking at further training in that area would be helpful, I think, and then identifying potential specialties like hospital work and living trust and adoption work and jail work. And, you know, each one of these, there's a little extra knowledge to go with it. So I do have a training on that called Laura Biewer Presents. There are videos that you can watch, and they're good across the United States. They're not state specific that might help you with ideas to identify things you might want to do in the general world.
Perfect. Thank you. When are you coming to Florida, Laura? Or
Physically,
have you already been?
yeah, I've been this year already. I've been there virtually several times and very recently in the first quarter of the year. So it'll probably be another 6 months or so before I'm back again.
Okay.
Physically, I'll probably be there this year before the end of the year because I have family there.
Okay, perfect. Now, my other, and I'm putting kind of on my broker's hat, the gentleman that was talking about switching hats and, offering other services. My only reserve on that, and again, I'm coming in my real estate broker mind, is because they were there for the refi. For some people, they think they're part of the company that did the refi. So then they would expect that he would know that there's a penalty for, selling early or whatever. So it may be something that they put in their verbiage that says, check with your new mortgage or whatever to make sure there's no penalties. Just a hint, just because a lot of people just expect that he was there. He understands the whole mortgage. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah.
So he was there for the refi signing. He was the loan signing agent. So a lot of people in their mind think that he knows exactly what that whole mortgage was. Do you know what I'm saying? So when he offers to purchase the property or send somebody over to purchase the property, then he should know there's a penalty. Not that he would, but that's what in their minds. It's not always everybody, but
Yeah, and if there is, we don't really see prepayments too often anymore. But I see what you're saying. We should always use caution, but all parties have to do their own due diligence as well. But that's a good point.
absolutely,
Always have to be
yeah,
aware.
because they automatically are representing ABC Mortgage, and we're not. We know we're not, but the people that are at the signing, they don't do it every day. So they're just thinking that their lines get blurred. I think for some people, not all, just some people.
Yeah.
Just,
good perspective.
So
thanks, Lori.
Thank you guys.
Nice to
I
meet you on
appreciate
here.
you.
All
Thank
right.
you. Nice to meet you both.
You got it. Likewise. Hey, Janae, great to see you on. Also
Hi
in
there,
Florida.
Bill.
Hi.
Yes, we got a lot of Florida here today.
Yeah.
Hi, Laura.
Hi.
I have two questions, but the one of them you've kind of answered already, tagged on to someone else's concerning here in Florida, where we have to have the 9 elements on every jurat and every acknowledgement. I remember, I think it was in the state specific training that when there is an oath, that technically an oath is not an acknowledgement or a jurat unless it has the subscribed and sworn or acknowledgement at the bottom, correct? So it doesn't require those 9 elements?
So if it's an oath only, there's no standard language for that. And no, you would need the 9 elements because there's not standardized language for an oath. It could be a paragraph above that they had to read out loud to you. But as soon as you see they're addressing a signature, even if it's in the acknowledgement part, now you've got a certificate that's going to require all 9 elements.
Okay, I just was making sure that I wasn't doing too much because I had one today, a package today that was like, 15 that I had to handwrite. So I may get that stamp now because today it was a lot. I had to handwrite in so much for a 200-page document, and it was a lot. So as long as it has that acknowledgement or jurat language, I do have to do that. But I've never seen an oath without any language. So in that case, I just stamp it. And
if
sign.
it's just an oath all by itself, where it says duly sworn before me, this, that, the other thing, blah, 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 that's just an oath, you would stamp and sign it. If after that it said sworn before me by so-and-so, that's still just an oath. That's not a jurat yet. There's no indication they've asked the person to sign it or that they want you to certify the signature.
Gotcha. And then the other question, I have an attorney that I've been working with, a real estate attorney with loan signings. And last week I really handled a high profile client for him, an NFL player. And I had to do it was a real big situation with him and then his mom at a different location. It was a crazy thing, but I handled it well. And then he asked me if I'd be willing to learn more about the processing side and he wants to bring me on to do like to help him with processing virtually, because he loves my service, that and he thinks that, he wants to teach me that side, and so to help him. He takes on a lot of very high profile clients. I want to make sure that I'm always interested in learning the full side. It helps me do my job better as a notary. But is there something I'm not considering or that I should be considering in this situation? I know I don't want an employee job. I've had several title companies of my clients that wanted me to work in their office. I know I don't want that. But he said he will allow me to do it virtually. He will give me the software and all that. But I want to make sure, is there something else I'm not considering with this offer? Sounds too good to be true, because he's talking about quite a big chunk per file to help him with processing. But I just want to kind of think it all the way out. What am I not thinking about?
Yeah.
Is it something you would love?
Yeah.
I think I love being with the signers. So I love
processing isn't with the signers, right?
Right.
Processing is like the data work.
Right. I do like paperwork. I do like paperwork and all of the clerical stuff as well. And I want to get to know it. I really want to know that side of it and understand that. And if, in times where, just to diversify my stream of income, just being able to have that as a possibility, I just want to make sure that I'm approaching it well and with him.
Well, he's already done the approaching part. I think that part's covered, but Laura nailed it. This is, if you love your business where you're going out and you're helping people and you're interacting, the processing side is different. There's some people who absolutely love it, and it can be very lucrative. It's a great virtual side hustle for some people. But there's a lot of pressure because things have to come through and you're relying on other people to get files done. You got to interact with underwriting. You're going to be, you get thrown under the bus all the time, those types of things, but it's a different world than what you've got right now. But if it's in alignment with where you want your business to go and the other opportunities you kind of see this could grow into, then it's really going to come down to your decision on this. And you could also give a trial period. Say, hey, I'm really interested in this. I don't have a full grasp of what's involved in it. Can I shadow one of your other processors and just get a feel for what this is, or call it a 30-day trial or a 10-day trial or whatever you want. I think you have lots of options. And I think somebody who's really interested in retention would be open to something like that.
I think a trial period is great. Thank you. I think I might try that out. That's a great idea.
All right, awesome. And congratulations, Janae. I think here's what's cool about this, and it's a double-edged sword a little bit, but when you're doing this work and you love this work and you're good at it, these opportunities start coming up. People want you in their office. They want to hire you. They don't always want to share you with their friends and colleagues, but they just want you in their orbit even more. So these kinds of deals start coming up. And one of the strongest lessons that you can learn as an entrepreneur and the CEO of your business is which opportunities to say no to. And that can be just as hard as saying yes sometimes.
Yes. As a matter of fact, it's a big deal to know when to say no, because not all opportunities are in alignment with where you want to go. And it could end up being a distraction. Even though it's a lucrative distraction, it might take you away from where you really want to be.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I noticed Shannon mentioned non-compete. And I want to piggyback on that really quick too, because if this is something you decide that you're going to do, Janae, if it just clicks and you love it, it can be a big business in and of itself. So you want to watch out for those non-competes, because if you love it with him, you want to be able to love it with a few others to get the volume and scale this thing to the size that you want. Plus, you don't want to have to give up any of your other income opportunities just to work for him.
Right.
Yeah. And he actually mentioned that, which was great. He was like, this would be something that I could tag on to my other businesses and offer that service to others. So he knows kind of like where I'm
He
going because I've
gets
worked
it.
with him a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. I love it. Guys, we have 1 minute. Debbie Carter, you're going to be our last question today. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi, I'm in North Carolina. I am a new notary. Do you recommend getting certified with the NNA to do loan signings? And do you recommend purchasing E&O insurance?
Great question, Debbie. Welcome to the industry. I've got a couple of resources for you that I'd really recommend to help answer some of these types of questions too. And then Laura and I will talk about this a little bit too. First, I highly recommend you read Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. I wrote it. It will give you a blueprint to help you decide how you want to build your business. Also, there's a free report at notarycoach.com that gives you more of a 30,000 foot view of that plan so you can get a feel for what that looks like. For me, should you become a certified loan signing agent? I don't know. It depends on what you want to do with your business. In North Carolina specifically, I'm going to let Laura talk about this, but they're really restrictive on the fees on the general notary work side. So the notaries that are really flourishing over there are loan signing agents. So it might be something that you seriously consider. And then Laura, do you want to jump in on that and any other suggestions?
Sure. I just want to add, along with Bill's book, although you can be certified with the NNA in terms of taking their course and test, you can also take somebody else's like Bill's, and then you can go get your background screening and test done by the NNA only, which is about $70. And then you'll have their certification. And so that's a way to be able to combine being trained in a way that you would like to get the information and still get that NNA name out there because it's their background screening. That's the big requirement. And then I think you asked about E&O insurance, and I wouldn't be in business as a notary without it. The industry is wanting, pretty much 100,000 if you're going to work for Title Direct. So yes, absolutely. I recommend you have E&O. The E&O that the NNA sells is specific to errors and omissions relating to notarization work, which is probably, 95%, that's your piece, right? That's what you're doing. If you're doing other aspects of the process, I'd be more concerned about having a larger type E&O policy called like general liability. But at least have E&O insurance, because if you're going to make a mistake, that's probably where it is.
Right.
And if you want to get hired by signing companies, they're going to require at least 25,000. Some are up to $100,000 now too. And all of that will be in that free report for you as well. And the book too. I think the book's only like $3.99 if you get the Kindle edition, but it'll go through and walk you through step by step on all of that. So you have kind of a good big picture. And then you can even schedule a phone call with me too. I'm kind of booked out kind of far right now, but you can definitely book a call with me, Debbie, directly.
Okay. And what was the name of your book again?
Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. It's on Amazon. You can also get it at notarycoach.com. Everything's kind of in one house there for you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Glad you found us, and welcome to the biz. Guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. It is 3 minutes after the hour. Thank you so much, Laura, for hanging out with us. Truly appreciate it. And for all of those who cut some time out of their Tuesday afternoon to grow yourself and your business on a Tuesday, thank you so much. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.
Next week.